I've been a retirement advisor now for over 20 years. And during that period of time, I've helped guide hundreds of families into retirement. And one of the advantages is I get to see the commonalities between families. I get to see some of the challenges and some of the most rewarding parts of retiring. And in today's video, I want to share with you the 5 main surprises that families report back to me that they had during retirement. So let's go for a walk and talk about these. I want to make sure your first year of retirement is full of as many pleasant surprises as possible and as few unpleasant surprises. So the first surprise is a pleasant one, and that is people tell me they didn't realize how much pressure they were under at work. You know, it's just, you've gotten used to it. This is what you've been doing now for 20, 30, 40 years. Working and handling the pressures and worried about paying off your mortgage and saving money for your kids' college education. And, you know, here in the U.S., we have to worry if we lose our jobs, we lose our healthcare insurance. So there's a lot of pressure on our shoulders, and we just don't feel it. And so the first surprise is just what a breath of fresh air it is to be finally have that chapter behind us. So that's the first item. The second item is people tell me that they ended up not spending as much money as they thought. You know, as a retirement advisor, one of the key inputs for me, one of the key pieces of information I need from my clients is, you know, how much do you plan on spending in retirement? Because if you're asking a financial advisor, you know, do I have enough money to retire? Well, if you're planning on spending $50,000 a year, that's a lot different than if you're planning on spending $100,000 a year. So getting a handle on your expenses is a really important aspect of a successful retirement plan. And fortunately, most people report spending less than what they had thought that they were going to spend. That's a good thing. Now, I say most because it's really important I share this. Not everybody. Probably about 20 to 25% of the people are actually spending a little bit more than what they had planned, and in some cases, a lot more. And if that's you, if you're spending a little bit more, if you're spending a lot more, definitely let your retirement advisor know, because, you know, if you spend a little bit more your first year of retirement, is that going to move the needle? Probably not. Is that going to change things for your retirement plan? Probably not. But if you do that for 20 years, yes, it is. Unfortunately, it is going to have an impact on your retirement plan. So just like your doctor tells you, you know, if your health changes, if something changes in your life, let me know. It's the same thing with your retirement advisor. If something changes in your plans, if something changes in your spending habits, let your retirement advisor know, because it's a lot easier to fix something when you still have 20 years into the journey than maybe when you have 20 years under your belt. You go in for a checkup with your financial advisor and you're like, oh, you know, we've got a problem. Those are words you never want to hear your financial advisor say. Oh, we've got a problem. So keep your retirement advisor informed. Okay, the next one that I want to share is folks are surprised, even though, frankly, it's part of my job, to let people know this so that they're not surprised. But retirement is a process, and I'm going to share it with you here, and hopefully you're not surprised by it. But it's a huge life change, you know this, when you retire. It's similar to when a young person out of high school, somebody graduates high school, and they're leaving home for the first time, either go to the trade school or to go to college. You know, they pack up everything that they own in a suitcase or two. They move to a different state. They move to the other part of the country. Maybe they move to a foreign country. And it's a huge change. And it's the same thing for retirement. It is a huge change for you. And there's a process that you go through. Unfortunately, the first phase, there's 4 phases. The first phase of that process is fun. It feels like vacation, right? It's celebration time. You've worked your whole life, and I want it to feel like vacation to you. So the first phase, just the pressure being off your shoulders, it feeling good. You just relax at the beach and drink margaritas if you drink alcohol, and just enjoy it. And I want that feeling of vacation. I want it to last for you as long as possible. And for most people, that feeling of vacation lasts 3 months to 2 years. Very few people have it last over 2 years. If I had a magic wand and could help you keep that feeling for over 2 years, I would give it to you. But make that phase last as long as you can, because remember I said there's 4 phases. Phases 2 and phases 3 are more stressful. Now the good news is phase 4, the last phase, is a lot of fun, so you have that to look forward to. But phase 2 is a feeling of loss, that you've given up some things, and you have. You're further along in your life. We've got many years behind us now. We don't have as many years in front of us. And from a work standpoint, when we were working, we had work friends, we had a routine, we had a community, we had a feeling of belonging. Some of us had a feeling of power, right? Influence. We could make things happen at work. That's harder to do later on when you're not working. So a lot of those things go away, and they're going to be replaced by something, but they're going to go away for a little bit of time. So that's the second phase, is this feeling of loss. And the feeling of loss is not going to last forever, but it can lead for some people to depression. So just heads up that it's out there. If you have a financial advisor you're working with, I want you to talk to them about that. Hey, how do I get through, Azul Wells says there's 4 phases. How do I get through phase 2 and 3 successfully? And the nice news is you can do this before you retire. You can be thinking about the loss and coming to grips with that. Some of it is just experiential. Unfortunately, it's the human experience. We have to experience it. We have to feel it. Then phase 3 is what I call trial and error. When we're finding our next purpose, what we're going to be passionate about, what we're hoping to do. And some of you are going to try 5 or 6 different things until you find the next thing that you're passionate about. And some of you are going to be lucky, and you're going to find that next thing be the very first thing that you try. But, some people, it's getting more involved in the church. Other people, it's getting involved in not-for-profits. Other people, it's getting involved maybe with their adult children and grandkids. Others, it's spending time with their aging parents. It's different for all of us. It may be more adventures. It may be traveling the world. It might be doing what I call slow travel. And, full disclosure, that's part of my plan. Phase 3 is the trial and error. So phase 2 is the loss. Phase 3 is the trial and error. We're trying things out. And then phase 4 is when we found that new purpose. We're on the other side of this transition, and now we're into our new life, and we look back and say, why did I work so long? Why didn't Azul talk me into retiring sooner? So those are the 4 phases. I want you to get through that successfully. Again, you can start working on phase 2 and 3 before you retire. Okay, another surprise is just the importance of health. At our age, our health is much more fragile and much more, I think the word is ephemeral, where it can disappear quickly. And unfortunately, it can be harder to rebuild it once it has disappeared. So I want you to respect and honor the fact of health. And, a lot of folks would say, and I think rightfully so, that their health is a heck of a lot more important than their wealth account. Their health account is more important than their wealth account. And I agree with that. Okay. And another thing, and I'll leave you with this one, but it's the most important one. So please stick by and think through it. And it's not intuitive. A lot of people miss this. And that is how you feel about risk in your portfolio changes as you get older. And so, yes, let's say you've retired at 60 or 65, or hopefully some of you out there are going to retire in your 50s, which I think a lot more Americans should be doing. So even though you have a long time horizon, and theoretically then you can still ride out the volatility in the stock market, I want to caution you that how you feel about risk in your portfolio, the ups and downs, the ups aren't bad, we all like the ups, but the downs in your portfolio, how those feel change and can change dramatically. And it's better to know this before you get scared in the stock market, right? Let's say you've always been 100% stocks in your portfolio allocation, or even you've always been 70%. You know what? Hey, Azul, .com bubble came and went. I didn't care. Great financial crisis came and went. I didn't care. Even COVID came and went. I didn't care. You know what? That doesn't mean that you should stay 100% stocks. Very, very few people should have that type of a risky portfolio, because once you're no longer putting money into your retirement accounts and now you're taking money out, boy, a 20, a 30, a 40% drop in the stock market, that takes your breath away. And it can keep you from sleeping at night. And it can also make you, because of the emotional pain, it can make you a forced seller in a down market. So let me summarize it by saying the pain of loss increases substantially once you retire. So be aware of that. Work with your financial advisor. Nothing I'm sharing here today is financial advice. The only advice I do have is you watch this video here, which talks about 5 reasons to retire as soon as you can. I'll see you in there. Thanks for watching this one. Bye-bye.